Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Under the bright, unforgiving lights of the Washington Commanders practice facility, there's a growing tension that you can almost feel in the air, a silence that speaks louder than words. It's not the usual pre-game buzz, not the sound of helmets colliding or the thud of cleats digging into the turf. No, this one feels heavier. Because somewhere behind the scenes, away from the drills and the shouts of position coaches, the fate of one of the Commanders' most vital players hangs in the balance. Terry McLaurin, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Explosive, the heartbeat of this offense, is battling an injury that refuses to loosen its grip. And while head coach Dan Quinn tries to steady the ship with words of cautious optimism, the reality emerging from this week's practice sessions tells a much different, much more worrisome story. It started with a quad issue, something that initially seemed minor, manageable, maybe even routine for an athlete of McLaurin's caliber. But as weeks have rolled by, as the Commanders have taken the field without their star wideout, what once looked like a small setback has slowly turned into a lingering question mark. McLaurin has missed 2 straight games. He's been evaluated by specialists. He's avoided the injured reserve list, a good sign on paper, but every missed practice, every sideline stretch instead of full-speed sprint, adds another layer of uncertainty. For fans, for teammates, and even for the coaches who know just how irreplaceable he is, this uncertainty is turning into genuine fear. Dan Quinn, a coach who prides himself on discipline and calm, has done his best to project confidence. He's praised McLaurin's work ethic, his professionalism, and his commitment to recovery. But as reporters noted McLaurin's absence from Wednesday's practice, completely missing from team drills, it became hard to ignore that the optimism might be just that, words. Thursday brought a glimmer of hope, only to snuff it out just as quickly. McLaurin appeared in shorts and a hoodie, not pads, stretching lightly on the sidelines before disappearing again to continue his individual work. No routes, no catches, no fire, just a lonely figure on the sideline, fighting an invisible battle against time, pain, and expectation. And let's be real, this isn't just about one player sitting out a game or two. This is about identity. The Washington Commanders are a team that has fought tooth and nail to define who they are in the Dan Quinn era. Tough, disciplined, balanced, and above all, resilient. But without Terry McLaurin, something fundamental changes. He's not just another receiver. He's the guy who moves the chains when everything else breaks down. He's the guy who, when the lights are brightest, makes the impossible look easy. When the ball is in his hands, hope feels tangible. Take him out of that equation, and suddenly, every third down feels longer, every drive feels heavier, and every snap carries the weight of uncertainty. Sure, Washington has managed to survive without him. Thrived, even. Deebo Samuel Sr. has stepped into the spotlight, showing flashes of brilliance that remind fans why the Commanders fought to bring him in. Luke McCaffrey has emerged as a reliable target, and the running game, led by one of the most efficient rushing attacks in the league, has become a force of its own. But as good as all of that sounds, there's a ceiling to how far they can go without McLaurin. When the season turns from September sunshine to December grit, when playoff spots are decided not by depth charts, but by stars who deliver in clutch moments, that's when Terry's absence could come back to haunt them. The irony, of course, is that the Commanders find themselves in a surprisingly strong position right now. At 3-2, with a Monday Night Football matchup against the struggling Chicago Bears looming, they have a real shot to climb to 4-2, a mark that could shift the perception of their entire season. But every whisper, every sideline report, every quiet mention of McLaurin's name now comes with the same nervous undertone. Will he play? Can he play? Or maybe the harder question, should he play? Because as much as fans want to see number 17 out there, as much as teammates crave his presence and defenses fear it, the risk of rushing him back is real. A quad injury isn't something you can simply tape up and power through. Push it too far, too soon, and you're not just risking another missed game. You're flirting with the kind of setback that can derail an entire season. Dan Quinn knows this. The medical staff knows this. And somewhere, deep down, Terry knows it too. That's what makes this so difficult. You see, McLaurin isn't wired to sit out. He's the kind of competitor who hates the idea of watching from the sidelines more than any physical pain he could feel on the field. The man has built his reputation not just on talent, but on heart, on showing up, every down, every drive, no matter the odds. To him, being inactive isn't rest, it's torture. So when you hear that he's been pushing through rehab, seeking second opinions, doing everything possible to get back out there, it's not surprising. It's who he is. But that drive, that relentless will to compete, can sometimes become his own worst enemy. Because the NFL is unforgiving, and one bad decision can turn a few missed games into a lost season. And so, the Commanders are walking a fine line. They need him, desperately, but they also need to protect him from himself. The decision to hold him out of practice again this week, to limit his activity to light stretching and conditioning, wasn't just medical, it was strategic. The team knows that Monday Night Football against the Bears could be winnable without him. They also know that the long-term battle, the one for a playoff berth, for a deep run when January comes, depends on keeping their stars healthy. The Commanders don't just want Terry McLaurin for Week 6. They need him at full strength for Weeks 15, 16, and beyond. Still, fans can't help but worry. Social media is flooded with speculation, frustration, and fear. Every new update, or lack thereof, gets dissected like a courtroom case. Some cling to Quinn's words of hope, others read between the lines and see something darker. The optimism feels forced, almost fragile, like a smile hiding bad news. After all, if McLaurin truly were close to returning, wouldn't we have seen him take at least a few reps with the team? Wouldn't there be some visible sign that he's ready? Instead, there's just this uneasy quiet, a silence that feels louder with every passing day. In the locker room, the message remains unified. Next man up. It's a mantra every team preaches, and the Commanders have lived it so far. But there's only so much next man up energy you can summon when the man you're replacing is Terry McLaurin. His leadership goes beyond the stat sheet. He's the voice in the huddle that keeps everyone grounded, the veteran presence that steadies young players when the pressure mounts. Even injured, he's been there, offering advice, motivating, encouraging. Yet everyone knows it's not the same. You can feel it in the way the offense lines up, in the way defenders don't shade coverage quite as tightly on the outside. His absence changes the geometry of the game. And maybe that's what makes this situation so unnerving. Because it's not just about whether McLaurin plays this Monday. It's about what this means for the Commanders moving forward. Are they truly capable of sustaining success without him? Can Drake Maye, the young quarterback who's shown flashes of brilliance and bravado? Yes, he's him in Buffalo. He's the guy who's been electrifying fans with his poise and accuracy. Keep this team afloat if his top target remains sidelined? So far, Maye has done everything asked of him and more, spreading the ball, staying composed, proving week after week that he belongs in this league. But even the best quarterbacks need their stars. McLaurin's connection with Maye was supposed to be the foundation of this offense, the spark that turned promise into production. Without it, Washington's aerial attack has lost a layer of unpredictability, that ability to strike deep at any moment. And while Maye's developing chemistry with Samuel and McCaffrey is encouraging, you can sense that something's missing: the rhythm, the trust, the synergy that only comes from working with a veteran receiver like McLaurin, who knows how to create separation when there is none. So now, as the Commanders inch closer to their Monday night showdown, the spotlight isn't on the opponent, or even on the rookie quarterback. It's on the sideline, on the quiet figure in the hoodie, watching his teammates from afar, stretching, grimacing, waiting. Every movement is analyzed. Every step is a clue. Will he make it back in time? Will he be the same player when he does? Or will this injury, this stubborn quad that just won't heal fast enough, become the story that defines Washington's season? The truth is, no one knows, not yet. The Commanders are keeping things close to the vest, as they should. They have a plan, a process, a timeline. But injuries don't care about timelines. And as much as Dan Quinn wants to sound confident, as much as fans want to believe, the uncertainty lingers. It's in every headline, every broadcast, every whispered conversation among those who've been following this team long enough to know that sometimes the scariest words in football aren't about the next opponent. They're about the guy who's not on the field. For now, Terry McLaurin's status remains murky, his availability for Monday Night Football uncertain. But one thing's for sure, When he does return, whenever that may be, the Commanders will welcome him back not just as a player, but as a symbol, a reminder of what they're fighting for, a reminder of the heartbeat that makes this team more than just a collection of names and stats. Until then, all they can do is hold their breath, trust the process, and hope that the next time Terry McLaurin steps onto the field, it's for good, and it's when it matters most. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. In what is already shaping up to be one of the most talked about controversies in the NFL this season, Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Washington Commanders, reportedly lost his composure in a heated confrontation that has left fans and insiders alike buzzing. Sources close to the team claim that during a tense practice session, Quinn, known for his usually composed demeanor, reached a breaking point with one of his players and allegedly stated in no uncertain terms, "He's not playing for me anymore." The incident has sparked an immediate wave of speculation, with fans, analysts, and even rival teams trying to piece together exactly what could have driven Quinn to such a public and dramatic stance. While the Commanders have been facing ups and downs this season, whispers around the locker room suggest that the tension had been simmering for weeks, if not months, before finally boiling over in this now infamous episode. The player in question, whose identity remains unconfirmed but is widely rumored among insiders to be a key contributor on offense, reportedly clashed with Quinn on multiple occasions, leading to what sources describe as an irreparable breakdown in trust between coach and player. According to reports, the altercation escalated to the point where other teammates were forced to step in, attempting to calm the situation before it spiraled even further. Those in the inner circles of the Commanders organization are hinting that this is not just a typical in-the-moment disagreement, but rather the culmination of ongoing frustrations related to performance, attitude, and perhaps even underlying team dynamics that have long been kept behind closed doors. Fans who have followed Quinn's career are expressing shock and disbelief. After all, the former defensive coordinator turned head coach has a reputation for methodical preparation, tactical awareness, and a relatively steady temperament. The idea that he would publicly declare that a player will never play for me again paints a very different picture, a side of Quinn that few have seen on television or in press conferences. Social media erupted within hours of the initial reports, with hashtags and speculation trending across platforms. Supporters of the Commanders expressed concern about the impact on team morale, while critics argued that Quinn's outburst may reflect deeper issues within the franchise's leadership and management. Among NFL circles, rumors are now flying about potential consequences for the player, ranging from benching to a trade, and some insiders suggest that this could even accelerate discussions about a roster shakeup before the trade deadline. Analysts on popular sports talk shows are dissecting the incident from every possible angle, weighing whether this is a coaching tactic to reassert authority or a genuine fracture that could have long-lasting repercussions. Former players who have worked under Quinn have chimed in as well, offering their perspectives on his coaching style. Many are quick to point out that Quinn is not known for impulsive decisions. However, they acknowledge that high-pressure situations, compounded by a string of disappointing performances or clashes with key players, could push even the most experienced coach to a breaking point. Rumors also suggest that the friction may have involved not just the player's on-field performance, but also perceived attitude, work ethic, or disagreements over strategy during practice. Some sources claim that during the confrontation, Quinn questioned the player's commitment and effort in a tone that left witnesses stunned. In addition to the immediate drama, insiders are already speculating about how this incident might affect the Commanders' season trajectory. Washington has been striving to build a competitive edge, and any sign of internal discord could undermine team cohesion at a critical point in the schedule. Sports psychologists and leadership experts have weighed in on the potential ramifications, emphasizing that public confrontations between coaches and key players often ripple far beyond the initial argument. They suggest that even if the player remains on the roster, trust and communication within the team could be permanently strained, potentially impacting performance in high-stakes games. The media frenzy around the story has been relentless. Reporters are digging into past interviews, team statements, and social media interactions to uncover any hint of tension leading up to the explosive moment. Fans are dissecting every available video clip, seeking clues in body language, sideline exchanges, and practice footage. Conspiracy theories abound, with some speculating that the confrontation may be part of a larger strategy to send a message to the rest of the roster, signaling that Quinn will not tolerate dissent or lack of effort. Meanwhile, merchandise sales and fan engagement on Commanders platforms have spiked, reflecting both outrage and morbid curiosity, an indication of how high-profile controversies can paradoxically fuel a team's visibility even amid internal strife. Behind closed doors, team executives are reportedly scrambling to manage the fallout. Sources suggest that meetings have been called to discuss the next steps, including potential interventions, counseling, or even facilitating a trade if reconciliation proves impossible. The atmosphere is said to be tense, with front office staff balancing the need to protect the team's image with the reality of an irate coach and a player whose future now seems uncertain. Among fans, speculation has reached a fever pitch. Comment sections are flooded with debates over whether Quinn's reaction was justified, whether the player's behavior warranted such a response, and what this means for the team's long-term strategy. Former NFL coaches and analysts have weighed in, noting that while fiery confrontations are not uncommon in professional football, public declarations of this nature are relatively rare and can signal deeper structural or interpersonal issues within a team. The player, for his part, has remained largely silent, fueling even more speculation. Insider accounts suggest that he has been frustrated with coaching decisions, practice routines, or perceived inconsistencies in playing time, though the exact details remain murky. Rumors are now swirling about potential suitors if a trade becomes imminent, with rival teams reportedly monitoring the situation closely, eager to capitalize on the Commanders' internal turbulence. Social media commentary has been relentless, with fans dissecting every nuance, from the tone of Quinn's reported words to the player's alleged reactions. Analysts have begun constructing scenarios for how this incident could reshape the Commanders' roster, offensive schemes, and overall competitiveness. Some argue that Quinn's hardline stance could galvanize the rest of the team, sending a clear message about discipline and accountability, while others worry that the move could backfire, fostering resentment or division among players. Adding fuel to the fire, former teammates and insiders have hinted that this may not be an isolated incident, but part of a pattern of intense confrontations that have occasionally flared up during Quinn's tenure. While he has often been praised for his defensive ingenuity and leadership acumen, these moments of visible anger introduce a new narrative about his coaching persona, a narrative that could influence player recruitment, fan perception, and even media coverage moving forward. Meanwhile, sports commentators continue to debate whether this confrontation signals a turning point for the Commanders. Will the team rally around their coach and refocus their efforts? Or will this fracture leave lingering effects on morale and performance? Every development, from practice reports to press statements, is being scrutinized for hints about the next chapter in this unfolding drama. Rumors are also swirling about potential behind-the-scenes negotiations, including the possibility of private mediation between Quinn and the player, or even intervention by team management to smooth over the conflict before it impacts game day readiness. Some insiders suggest that the situation may even prompt a review of team culture, leadership approaches, and the ways in which accountability is enforced within the Commanders' locker room. The media storm shows no signs of abating. Podcasts, YouTube channels, and sports blogs are all dissecting the story, replaying quotes, and attempting to parse the complex interpersonal dynamics at play. Fans and analysts alike are caught in a whirlwind of speculation, debating not only the immediate consequences for the player and the team, but also what this episode reveals about the pressures of coaching at the highest level. At its core, the Quinn-player confrontation is more than just a news item. It is a narrative that touches on leadership, authority, performance pressure, and the human dimension of professional sports. It has ignited conversations about how coaches handle conflict, the responsibilities of players to their teams, and the delicate balance required to maintain both discipline and morale. As the story continues to evolve, insiders are watching every interaction, every practice, and every press conference for signs of resolution or further escalation. Whether this incident ends with reconciliation, a trade, or lasting tension, it has already cemented itself as one of the most intriguing and controversial moments of the NFL season. For fans, analysts, and rival teams, the saga of Dan Quinn and the Commanders player is a living, breathing drama, unfolding in real time and promising to dominate headlines, social media feeds, and locker room chatter for weeks to come. In the world of professional football, where discipline, performance, and personality collide, this story is a potent reminder that even seasoned coaches can reach their breaking point, and that the internal dynamics of a team can be just as riveting and unpredictable as the games themselves. And while no official statements have fully clarified the situation, the speculation alone has created a whirlwind of attention, illustrating just how powerful a single moment of confrontation can be in shaping narratives, influencing perceptions, and leaving fans, pundits, and players alike on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting the next twist in this dramatic and still unfolding story. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.